I'm John Cheplak, and I have the perfect resume to be in the position I'm in today. At around 21 years old, I was a bouncer in a teenage nightclub in downtown Seattle. And when the nightclub closed, I was the janitor. And then after I finished that, I would drive underneath the Space Needle over to a seafood warehouse, and the seafood orders from grocery stores and restaurants and taverns, they would come in every single morning, and I would pack the orders, pack the boxes, pack the truck, and I would drive routes around Seattle delivering seafood. So I was working about 110, 120 hours a week, and one day my mother, who's in real estate, said, "You know, son, work half as hard and get in real estate." And all of a sudden I was a real estate agent. So over time in my real estate career, I noticed many people failed, and it didn't feel good to me. I thought that leadership could do more, and then I evolved into branch management, executive level leadership. And my last stop as an employee, as an executive, I was really fortunate along the way to have many great leaders and mentors that were so generous in passing along to me their knowledge, their experience, their skill sets, such that I had the opportunity to go out on my own and start coaching other leaders, other agents throughout North America, which has now expanded to worldwide. I'm excited to be here today with Grant and share the powerful vehicle of video. I went out into the coaching space around 2000, 2002-ish. All I had was email at that point in time. And so I got email lists for cities, and I would rent a room. Hopefully it was $100. I don't know, I was kind of broke back then. I've been broke many times, but that's a whole other story. And what I would do to save money is I would rent a room that could maybe hold 25 chairs. And when I left executive level leadership, I knew that recruiting was really the one challenge that leadership had in the real estate industry. I would do free events. I'd send out emails offering this free recruiting event, free half-day recruiting event. And I would literally fly into the city on a redeye to save money on the hotel. So I'd land at 6 or 7 in the morning and do the airport shower, and I'd go do the seminar, and hopefully people would see value in the experience of working with me based on the knowledge that I shared from my experience. And that's how I got started. There were times where there would be one person in the room, 24 empty chairs, one person in the room, but I would deliver that message, and here I am today. That's where it started. The credibility and authority that was built over time as a result of video, immeasurable, because what would start to happen is as I would travel around and speak, or even when I would get on the phone with someone, I watched this video here, I watched that video there. An email would come in, and I've been watching your videos for years. I mean, it was an interesting discovery, the amount of video that people would consume, but it's a dramatic differentiator in my business today and the people that I get to work with, and that's the number one lever, 100%. So video helped me grow my business and my brand by allowing more eyeballs to experience me as a leader, to experience me as a coach, to consume my messaging, and to actually take some of the messaging that I was sharing out there freely, put it into action, and have an opportunity to get a result, to actually help people before I actually help them, to actually coach them before I literally engaged in coaching. The power of experiencing me on video time and again, those series of micro commitments, because see, when we want someone to make a decision, they have to make this big commitment, the big commitment to buy, the big commitment to engage in consulting. Whatever it may be in any industry, there's that big commitment. Well, the nice thing with video is that series of micro commitments. Every time that someone would consume some of my content that was 99% what I would call content amplification, giving value and educating, informing without any calls to action on it. That series of micro commitments built trust, it built credibility, and what would happen is ultimately the next natural step in my case for someone would be to reach out and say, how can I work with you? I probably did such a great job in leveraging myself consistently with value-based, educational-based video, such that I didn't have to use calls to action, but what I did a horrible job of, in hindsight, was telling people what to reach out to me to do. I mean, many times the video was so powerful, many times people would reach out to me, I don't know what you do, but I like what you're saying. Can you tell me what you do? I was interviewed for a huge event. An executive staff interviewed me. We're interviewing other people, and we're going to choose this one person to do our kickoff in front of 5,000, 6,000 agents. I said, okay, great, wonderful. We'll get back to you in a couple weeks. 2 or 3 days later, I get an email from one of the members of the executive staff, you're hired. And I said, how come? I thought it was going to be a couple weeks. What made you decide that? I thought we were going to circle back with some further questions. I watched a video of you being interviewed at a Starbucks with your baseball cap on, and it was about 2 hours before I needed to go get ready to go speak at another event. Well, what did that lead to? That led to me certainly speaking at that event in Canada in front of thousands of agents, because they saw a video after they had interviewed me on the telephone. It led to me speaking in Tel Aviv. It led to me speaking in Jerusalem. When you start traveling internationally as a speaker, I only know from my results and experience, credibility just started to shoot through the roof. And there's one great example that's probably measurable again in the impact that that's had on my business. How do I use video to strategically grow my business and my brand? I use video in 2 forms. I use it as a thought leader, and that is sharing information, educational, informational content that is specific to my audience. The other side is influencer. The influencer silo of my business is taking people through principles that will impact us not only in our business, but more so in our personal lives. Principles of discipline, commitment, principles that really come down to living a whole life. One of the things that I've learned in my own personal life through my series of misadventures in life, we can be really, really competent and skilled, but that other side, that personal side of it, which we all go through, our times of growth, our times of challenges. And what's interesting to note is I'm probably tilted more on the influencer side of the messaging in my video content than I am in the thought leader side. And the reason for that is because it makes me more relatable as a human being. With humility, it allows people to experience you as a human. It humanizes you. That's the overarching space. Being very vulnerable and transparent, because what you're looking to do in using video, in my experience, is allow people to, as you tell your story, as you share experiences, the highs and the lows, and stories that go with that, is ultimately someone finding where they fit in your story. I have a greater opportunity for people to get to know me, like me, trust me, when they see that, okay, this person is really focused on their wellness. This person went through a challenge in their life that they overcame and was at the bottom, and oh my goodness, my situation, is nothing, but if that person can pull through that, maybe they can guide me or inspire me or even follow. Maybe they'll never work with me. So, I think what's most important is that so many people in business, we want the sale. We all want the sale. We're in a for-profit business. And yet I don't think enough time, energy, and focus is spent on the human side of it. And so that's how I've done it, and it's worked really, really well. The number one thing that I share with people is educate, inform, demonstrate. At least one of those, but if you can get a couple of those or all of them in the video content you're putting out there, you're going to win. We've got conversion-based messaging, which is buy or sell. Here's information. It's kind of as you compare that thought leader messaging that's about real estate or a strategy or a tactic. You've got conversion-based messaging that has to do with people buying or selling. And then you have the influencer, which is the influencer messaging. The influencer messaging is more of a holistic approach, meeting people in their lives. And then when you take a look at, from an agent standpoint, content amplification for the agent in the B2C messaging is meeting them where they're at in their lives. For example, if Little League signups are coming up, it's a video that talks about Little League signups that are coming up. If a new restaurant opens, talking about that new restaurant that opens up. That's the difference. Whereas, so if you look at that content amplification, it's being informational in a space that supports people in their daily lives versus conversion-based messaging that is focused on getting a sale. What is the most successful way that you can use video today? Number one, create one piece of content a week. Number two, keep a 3-to-1 ratio. 3 pieces of video content that are deposit-based, value-based, educational, informational-based. Move it across all channels. At a minimum, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Boost it, and I know that many people are, well, let's do it in the ads manager, and I'm not here to debate whether you do a boost. And by the way, I always love sharing with people, I like using a boost because the best ad is the one that doesn't look like an ad. So I challenge people, take a look at the next time you run a Facebook ad and compare a boost versus something from the ads manager. They look dramatically different. One looks more organic. Then the next simple step is to then take that video and a screenshot of the video and embed it, lay it in an email. My tip on email marketing, many people don't realize that the weight of the file is a critical element on the deliverability of email. So you want to reduce the size of that screenshot, the image, so it's not a heavy file, put it in JPEG Mini so you don't compromise the quality of the image. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go up in the browser and grab the link from the Facebook video. I want you to game the algorithm. And the best way to do that, to build the profile that's congruent to you and your messaging, is then emailing that video, the screenshot of the video with the Facebook link embedded in it. So each time someone opens up your email, they're sending a message to the algorithm because they're hitting the algorithm every time because it is the Facebook video link. If someone would take those simple steps, call me in 90 days and let me know how well that worked out for you, because I'm seeing it happen time and again. Now, using this exact strategy helped me get more than 2 million views on a video 5 years ago. And today, standing at, I don't know how many millions of views across all of my videos, because what happens is you don't create a viral video, in my opinion. You create a video, you leverage it across all platforms, and it gets legs and it ends up viral. That's how it ended up happening for me. But what was important is understanding too, in looking at a video that's got 2+ million views on it, is it's an asset and it's there forever and you can repost it. So it was simply doing a video. And by the way, so many times you think about planning, and it's very interesting when you look at video, and a question that may come up is, should I have a production calendar? Me, I'd say no, because First of all, I'm committed to video, so I know I'll get it done. If you're someone that won't get the video done, you need that. By all means, have a production calendar. I just believe in showing up raw and natural, so I'll take you down to the core of how the first million plus video happened. I walked out of the gym at 4 a.m. in a space of inspiration. Now, what I want to point out to you also, though, too, I was real fortunate because I had my production crew with me. It was ironic, 4:30 a.m. Best production crew you could ever have. So stay with me and take notes. It's grabbing that cell phone, putting it on selfie mode, and pushing the red button and walking in circles. So it was the perfect storm. And going purely from a place of inspiration, and then naturally moving it across all of those channels.
So it's about 4:30 a.m. and I'm walking out of the gym. And
that video still comes up. I can go city to city and I can either bring it up, hey, do you remember the red baseball cap video? Who doesn't? Or, hey, I'll watch your video of you walking around that parking lot at 4:30 in the morning.
How do you stay in such a positive mode? And it's, I don't stay in a positive mode. It's a foundation that kind of creates it and allows it to appear magically for me, because it's a result of constant reflection.
That humility, vulnerability, and transparency. Be you. Because that wasn't planned. And I can tell you this, my videos that quite frankly have performed at the highest level, they weren't planned. I wasn't concerned about perfection. So those are the obstacles. The obstacles aren't that I don't have a crew. The obstacles aren't that I don't look great. Gosh, I don't know that I look that great ever.
I can tell you this, at 41 years old, I owned a bicycle and my clothing, and was a rock bottom drunk, hospitalized 6 times in a 30-day time frame, in and out of rehab.
What we ultimately need to do to move someone to a logical decision is we first have to have an emotional connection. So we need to create emotional and psychological bonds. Well, how does video do that? Well, take you back to the 70s when they studied this connection that people have to soap operas. And as they studied it, what was this fascination with the moving heads, moving bodies on the screens? This feeling of being connected is parasocial behavior. Was people started to feel they had a relationship with the person on the screen. They saw themselves fit in the story. Well, John, that's TV. Well, there's some things that we need to understand about the brain and how it functions, and then video. The unconscious brain acts. It takes action. The conscious brain thinks. So with that, the unconscious brain cannot discern the difference between a moving head on a cell phone, a desktop, a laptop, an iPad. A moving head on any of those screens is processed in the unconscious brain as TV. Well, what do we know about TV? TV builds authority. TV makes people famous. TV gives people credibility. Super simple.
What I would say is this is, constantly reflect, live in where you were at, and revision and believe that you can do anything, man.
3 seconds of your video being consumed by your audience has a 44% impact on purchase intent. If someone consumes 10 seconds of your video, the impact on purchase intent is over 70%. One final piece, and especially as you look at whether it's lead follow-up and nurturing and conversion, and now more than ever, is 55% of the impact of communication. Impact. So we can communicate. You can have all the scripts and dialogues that you want to have, but if you don't impact people, you're not going to win. 55% of the impact of communication is body language. Now let me ask you a question. How much body language is on that phone call you're making? How much body language is in that text or that email? So it's a dramatic differentiator out of the gates. You know, marketing has many different meanings to people. When you hear marketing, and I don't know, we sat with a psychologist, what's the one word that comes to mind when you hear the word marketing? Well, I'm going to make it really simple and just say differentiate. Okay? What's the root word of differentiate? Different. It didn't say fancier. It didn't say better. Okay? It didn't say prettier. It said different. And what I know in traveling around the world and zooming around the world and starting using video, 9 or 10 years ago, is that I'm saying the same thing I said 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, using some of the same statistical data, because there's so many people that aren't using it. I mean, by simply using it, you're going to win. See, my crappy video keeps outperforming your absent one, and it will continue to, time and again. What goes into creating a successful video? There are many different variables and approaches that people use, but here's the one that I advise people, and it's really simple. Number one, face to camera with a hook. A hook being a question that you're going to answer in the video, and of course a question that your audience wants answered, or a bold statement. Are you being misguided? And then next, introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. It is John Cheplak coming to you at 4:44 a.m.
Number three, tell people what you're going to cover in the video. Talk to them like a second or third grader. In this video, we're going to talk about X.
So empathy is to co-experience someone's feelings.
Think about future pacing people. And at the end of the video, there's a dramatic statistic that will blow your mind.
And number four, I'm going to share with you at the very end a little trick that's going to help you get way more engagement and eyeballs.
See, right there, what I did is I'm telling people watch the whole video. Okay? Go into your content, and then if you future paste them, come back to that promised. And as promised, I want to share with you. But if you didn't future paste them after sharing the content, then pivot to what's next. If it's a market snapshot, then what you want to say, if you would like an entire picture of the marketplace for August, please feel free to reach out to me. That's the simple framework that I've seen work really, really well in creating videos. One of the questions I get asked all the time is, what do I need to get started with video? The simple answer is this: you need a cell phone and a little bit of guts and a whole lot of heart. And that's it. We're seeing hundreds of recruits come into a team, literally hundreds, from a video that was done selfie mode. We're seeing agents break sales records by doing market snapshot videos in selfie mode, just walking around. I work with people to do high-level production, and it performs very well for them. I have people that don't, and that performs really well for them. I have always stayed in, maybe I've done some studio stuff, not maybe, I've done some studio stuff, but I'm just more from the space of just do it. I'm the immediate action taker. How important is storytelling? It is the most critical way to capture and, for lack of better words, sell without selling. Ultimately, what we need to do in sales is being relatable. And what telling stories does is it humanizes you, and the more you go into the story, what you're going to do is hope that someone finds a place where they fit into that story or where it relates to their specific situation. Well, all storytelling is the feel, felt, found. Understand how you feel. This person felt the same way. After doing X and us doing Y, here's what they found. Can you see how that can be you? is nothing that can pierce the psychological and emotional bond that you can create with your avatar, with your audience, if you can tell story and use video. One of the things that people forget is that there's 7 billion people on the planet. The target isn't trying to be like someone else, something that impresses you, something that inspires you. I think the biggest mistake that people make in any form of marketing is the further they move away from who they are, actually reduces the opportunities that they have with what's right in front of them. We all know that you want to be real, but the person that is going to choose to work with me may be totally turned off by you, or vice versa. What's most critical is that you show up as you. Like I say all the time, my bad video is going to outperform your absent video. Video, I wouldn't say anyone can do it. I would say everyone must do it. And for a deeper reason too, is I don't care who you are, what you've accomplished. You're here, you're a human, you've had life experiences, and there's plenty of people out there that you can truly impact and move, create comfort with, so that whatever the decision is that you're trying to help them with, the decision that they want to make, there's nothing better than having them connect with someone that they really find relatable.
If you can do anything, man, because I can, so can you.
How important is authenticity in video marketing? And I'll go to authenticity as a whole in marketing. It is a term that is thrown around, and there are many different definitions, perceptions. I think anything has different definitions and perceptions of what it really is. Just be you. People don't buy hype, they buy substance. And people can sense hype versus substance.
You have a responsibility to do is go out and take freaking action and impact the lives of the people that matter to you.
I want you to close your eyes right now, and I want you to think about the person who is the closest to you, that you've made a promise to, someone you love dearly, someone that you care for. You've made a promise of an experience that you're going to create, something that you're going to do for them. It would be a dream come true for you, be a dream come true for them. It would be something that would just change your life. It would charge you emotionally, but it's going to require you to do something that's uncomfortable. It's going to require you to expand your marketing in the most powerful vehicle on the planet, and that's video. And you've declared that promise to them. And I want you to think about that moment where you've made that promise and how it feels and how excited you are at that moment. And that knowing that you have that video is going to be that vehicle. And you declared a time frame by when it's going to happen. And it doesn't, because you didn't take action. And what I want you to visualize is going back to them and telling them, I'm sorry, we can't do that. I can't give you that. We're not going to experience that because I'm a coward.